Good morning. There are only 2 Children of the Week assemblies left this term. I wonder if you're going to be celebrated today or maybe next week. And don't forget, we're going to be doing our values cups as well. So if you've got a values cup at home and haven't brought it in yet, would you please do so as soon as possible? Let's start with our liturgy. In the beginning, when God created all things, he said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Let your light shine. God is light, and in him there is no darkness. Let your light shine. Jesus said, "I am the light of the world. Let your light shine." We remember at this time of Advent that Christians all over the world are waiting and preparing for the birth of Jesus, who was the light of the world. Well, today we're going to be thinking about qualities of a friend. I wonder what you think is one of the most important qualities of a true friend. Maybe stop this recording and just share between you in class what makes a good friend. Well, the quality that I'm wanting to think about is being practiced in this game. It's called a trust game, and it's where you have a friend behind you or a group of friends behind you, and you fall back and you trust them to catch you. Maybe something that you've done before or something that you could do in your class. You need to trust the person behind to catch you. Otherwise, they're really not a true friend and you would fall and hurt yourself. We're going to think a little bit about a story in the Bible today. A story where Jesus walks on the water. And it is a story about trust.
After feeding thousands of men and their families with just 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, Jesus told his followers to sail to a town on the other side of the lake.
Go ahead to Bethsaida. I will come later.
So his helpers got into a boat to cross the big lake, while Jesus went up into the hills to pray. In the middle of the lake, a strong wind began to blow, making large waves. In the boat, the followers were having trouble. Soon, they saw something that frightened them more than the storm. A man walking on the water.
It's a ghost!
But it wasn't a ghost. It was Jesus walking on the water.
Have courage. It is I. Don't be afraid.
Peter, is it really the Lord? Lord, if that really is you, then tell me to come to you on the water.
Come.
So Peter left the boat and walked on the water to Jesus. But when he saw the wind and the waves, he became afraid and began to sink.
Lord, save me!
Jesus reached out his hand and caught Peter.
Your faith is small. Why did you doubt?
After Peter and Jesus were in the boat, the wind became calm. Then those who were in the boat worshipped Jesus.
Truly, you are the Son of God.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it right now. I think I found the single
Trust appears in many places in that story. Yes, the disciples were fishermen, some of them, and therefore used to trusting each other when storms arose. It wasn't unusual for a storm to rise on the Sea of Galilee. But they'd not really experienced that sort of storm, maybe in such intensity. They trusted their boat. They were confident that it would carry them across the water. They trusted each other. But probably the most important part of the story was the trust that Peter put in Jesus when Jesus told him to come out of the boat and to walk on water. Now, we know that the disciples had seen other miracles. They'd just seen the feeding of the 5,000 with the 5 loaves and 2 fish. They knew that Jesus was somebody who did miracles, but walking on water in a storm, that really is quite a big deal. And yet Peter had faith in Jesus and trusted him. Trust and confidence go hand in hand. It's not just about trust, but it's about our own confidence as well. When I was a bit younger and my kids were little, we used to go to Wales each year and we used to climb in the mountains. Most of the time it was walking in the mountains, but there were some places that we did need to climb and some places that we needed to have ropes and harnesses around us because it was dangerous. We had a friend who was a mountaineer. We trusted him that he knew what he was doing, and I needed to trust my children to him because they were attached to him by a rope. And there were times that we did do climbing and it was quite scary, but we knew that the rope and the harnesses that were around us were safe, and we knew that our friend Dave knew what he was doing, so we could trust him and have confidence in him. But we also had to have that sort of bravery and confidence in ourselves. We had to be willing to go for it. There's another picture here of a trust game where somebody's blindfolded, and it's called Minefield. And you have another friend who is guiding you blindfolded across the minefield, and you mustn't touch anything. It's maybe something that you could do in your PE lessons. You need to listen carefully to instructions. Those instructions need to be clear, but above all, you need to be trusting your friend. But confidence is an important thing, and we learned that Peter, when he started to lose confidence, that was when he began to sink. Friendships are built on trust, and we need to be able to trust that our friends won't hurt us and they want the best for us. Trust is believing that our friends will do what they say they will do. And that confidence and trust in those around us will enable us to work well as a team, as a class, as a school community. Our friendship is built on trust. Here we have what we call a pinky promise. You link little fingers. Little fingers are the weakest, but linked together, they're strong. And here we've got a poster about friendship. We listen, we share, we take turns, we're kind. Look later, trust each other. That's really important. And so we come to our reflection. Do you think a cyclist could win a race if they didn't have confidence in their bike? Would you ride your bike if you thought it was going to collapse underneath you? Do you have any trustworthy friends? And are you a trustworthy friend? If you've been around school, you'll have seen one of those reflection prayer stations. It's all about trust. Maybe take time to go there and consider and reflect on what trust means. And I hope that in school you've got a trustworthy adult that you can go to if you've got any concerns. It may not be your teacher, could be your LSA, could be anybody in school that you know, a previous teacher, but somebody that you go to that you can trust that they will listen to you and be there for you to help you. Let's say this prayer together, and if you want to agree with me, then say Amen at the end. Dear God, we've heard this morning about the part that trust and confidence has on our actions. We know that trust is an important part of friendships and many of those other relationships that we have with those around us at home and school. Help us today to be a trustworthy friend so that others can place their confidence in us. Amen. While we think about trustworthy friends, I want to let you know about the Sports Council. They've just been, I can't think what the word is, they've just been elected, and they're going to be out on the playground at playtimes wearing one of these great sports leader vests. You won't be able to miss them. They are Grace, William, Eva, Maya and Lexton from Year 5, and Oliver, Ariana, Millie, Ollie and Darcy in Year 6. They're there to ensure that fair play is being applied, and they'll help select sports teams and organise and run inter-school festivals as well as our school games. They'll be around with Mr. Higgins at lunchtime to help to referee the games that are going on in the Mugger. And they've arranged for a whole timetable of different games because they want a playtime to be a good time for you all. So thank you to all of them. And then on Friday, we had training for some Year 5 junior e-safety ambassadors. William, Zach, Leo, Grace, Serenity, Edie, Oliver, Jalen, Katara, Leon and Amelie all had that training, about 4 hours of it, in cyberbullying, in sharing of personal information, thinking about what you're doing before you post something on the internet, social networking and privacy settings, strangers online and where to find help. They did brilliantly, and they've all got a certificate. I'll be coming round to give them their certificates a little later on. There you are. They've all got a certificate like this. And they also have a wonderful badge that they will be wearing, e-safety ambassador. So if you see them around, you can talk to them about any e-safety concerns that you might have. They're going to be doing assemblies, promoting safer internet days for us. They're there to help others to learn how to be safer online. So if you've got any questions, you can trust them and they will be a good friend to you. If they can't answer any questions, then they will bring those to an adult that they trust and we will find the answers for you. So thank you to all of them. Now, finally, we move on to our Child of the Week celebration, when we think about children who have shown our values at school. And so we think in Year 1 and celebrate Darcy, who is Child of the Week for Miss Byrne. And Esme has been chosen as Child of the Week for Miss Marsden. In Year 2, Miss Franklin has chosen Lola. And Holly is the Child of the Week for Miss Jakes and Mrs. Walker. Moving into Year 3, Mrs. Epps and Mrs. Poole have chosen Zayden. And Oliver is the Child of the Week for Miss Crofts. In Year 4, Jaden is Child of the Week for Miss Lefebvre, and Ellie is Child of the Week for Mr. Wright. Well done. In Year 5, there are 2 Children of the Week for Mrs. O'Donoghue, Arthur and Jack. And Sophie is the Child of the Week for Mr. Boyer. Now lastly into Year 6. Sophia Marie is the Child of the Week for Miss Greenhill, and Heridia has been chosen by Mr. Nile. A very big well done to all of you. So remember, next week is our last Child of the Week assembly, and do bring in those values cups that you haven't done so yet. I've got about maybe 6 or 7 on my desk, and so I think there's a few more still to come. Thank you all. I hope you have a really good week. Now let's finish off, and we will do our blessing to each other. Go in the light and the peace of Jesus. In the name of Christ. Amen.